There are moments in life when people walk away, relationships end, friendships fall apart, and connections you thought would last forever suddenly disappear. And in those moments, the pain is real, the confusion is real, the disappointment is overwhelming. You start asking yourself questions that have no easy answers. Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? Why did God let this happen? But what if their leaving wasn't a loss, but a blessing in disguise? What if their exit was not rejection, but protection? What if God removed them because he saw something you didn't, heard something you couldn't, and knew something you weren't meant to know yet? Sometimes, when God removes people from your life, it's not to hurt you, it's to save you. God hears conversations you don't hear. You only hear their kind words, but God hears their true intentions. You see their smiles, but God sees the jealousy, the envy, the hidden motives. You see who they pretend to be around you, but God sees who they really are when you're not around. He sees the future of that relationship. He knows the path they're walking, and he knows if that path would eventually break your heart, drain your spirit, or sabotage your destiny. So when God removes someone, he's not being cruel, he's being protective. You were saved from a deeper pain, even if you don't see it yet. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people are seasonal. They come to teach you, to guide you, or to push you into the next version of yourself. But they are not meant to walk with you forever. Your destiny is too important to be shared with people who can't handle your growth. Some people don't have the maturity, the loyalty, or the spiritual depth to stand beside you in the next chapter of your life. They were only designed for a part of the journey, not the entire story. And when God sees that someone is holding you back, limiting your growth, or pulling you away from your purpose, he removes them. It might feel painful now, but one day you will look back and understand why. Elevation often requires separation. Before God takes you higher, he disconnects you from the people who can't go with you. Not everyone is meant to enter the next level of your life. Think about the stories you've heard all your life. Before David became king, he was separated from the people who underestimated him. Before Joseph entered the palace, he was separated from his own brothers. Before Moses led a nation, he was separated from Egypt. Before Jesus began his ministry, he spent time alone in the wilderness. God separates before he elevates. It's a pattern woven throughout time. Sometimes you feel lonely not because you've lost people, but because God is clearing the room before he blesses you. He's removing distractions, removing negative influences, removing people who drain your spirit. And even though it feels lonely, it's actually preparation. A pruning season before the blooming season. And here's something important to understand. When God removes someone, he also replaces them. You might be mourning someone God has already replaced behind the scenes. You might be crying over what left, not realizing God is making room for something better. If a friend walked away, God will bring someone loyal. If a relationship ended, God will bring someone who truly loves you. If someone betrayed you, God will bring someone trustworthy. God never takes without giving. He never subtracts without adding. He removes what was hurting you to make space for what will heal you. There are times when people leave suddenly without closure, without explanation, without a goodbye, and you're left confused, wondering what happened. But sometimes God removes people quickly because if they stayed any longer, they would have caused damage you might not recover from. Quick removal often means urgent protection. God saw something you didn't. He stepped in before you got hurt worse. Their exit wasn't abandonment. It was an emergency rescue. Some of the deepest pain comes when people leave during your hardest season. When you're already struggling, rebuilding, or trying to find your way, and someone you trusted walks out. But sometimes God allows that, so you learn to depend on him, not on people. He wants you to understand that your strength comes from him alone. People may walk away, but God does not. People may fail you, but God won't. People may abandon you, but God never will. There are people who leave simply because they don't know how to love you. They don't have the emotional capacity. They don't have the spiritual maturity. They don't have the stability or loyalty your heart deserves, and that has nothing to do with your worth. You were not too much for the right person. You were just too much for the wrong person. God removes them because he knows your heart is too valuable to be mishandled by the wrong hands. You deserve someone who appreciates your loyalty, someone who respects your love, someone who matches your sincerity. Sometimes God removes people to redirect your life. Maybe you were stuck, maybe you were comfortable with less than you deserved, maybe you were ignoring the signs. God closes doors because he knows if he didn't, you would stay somewhere you were never meant to stay. Endings are often beginnings in disguise. What feels like rejection today will make sense as direction tomorrow. So if someone walked out, let them go. If someone betrayed you, forgive them and move forward. If someone left without a word, trust that God saw something you didn't. Don't chase what God has removed. Don't cling to what God has closed. The people who left were not meant for the future God is preparing for you, and the people who are meant to be in your life will never require you to beg for their presence. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are being guided, protected, and prepared for something greater. One day you will look back and thank God for every person he removed, because without that separation, you wouldn't be stepping into the person you're becoming now. What God removes, he replaces. What God ends, he renews. What God closes, he closes for your protection. Trust his plan. Trust his timing. Trust his wisdom. When God removes people from your life, it's not rejection. Its direction, its protection, its purpose. And it's always for a reason.